All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Amy Rule. I've been working on the EuroQuest committee for more years than I care to think about at this point, and I'd like to welcome you to our first demo of the virtual EQ 2020. We are here today to introduce a relatively new game. It is called Calico. It started out as a Kickstarter, and as one of the many, many gamers who love games and cats, how could we possibly resist? As a matter of fact, let me also introduce my gaming buddy Simon over here. So he's going to keep an eye on things while we go through this today. So Calico is a game themed on cats and quilts, because how cozy and how adorable is that? As I said, it was a Kickstarter, although it is available for sale at this point. Norman actually missed out on it on the Kickstarter. My husband Norman is over there on Command Central, so if you have any questions during the demo, feel free to type them in the chat. The little chat button is right down there at the bottom of your screen, and he will either answer them in the chat or he will relay them to me, and I will answer them in the demonstration. All right, so I'm going to take you through a couple things in the rule book first, and then we'll turn around and actually look at the components and go through a bit of the gameplay. So first of all, I also want to hearken this to, I just realized looking at the cover of this the other day, this cute little orange tabby here. We have a very special friend in the gaming community, and especially in the Baltimore area, but certainly in the Eurogame community. Our very own Legend Dan adopted a cat that looks an awful lot like this little guy, and his name is Meeple. He was a stray that got picked up at WBC a year ago this past summer. So I know that in the game, this little guy is actually, I think, called Tibbet, but I always think of him as Meeple, so he's ours. Alrighty, so in the game of Calico, basically you are a quilter and you are making quilts, and you're trying to design your quilts to attract the best cats to come curl up with you. So the components of the game are all the different quilting tiles that come in different colors and different pattern designs. Each quilter has their own quilting board. It's a 4-player game, so you get 4 boards. And there are a number of bonus tiles. There are pattern tiles that you use to determine which cats like which kinds of patterns. There are the different cats, and we'll see all of this laid out shortly. And then there are the buttons, which as you get multiple tiles of a color together, you're going to see how you can get extra points by getting buttons. So those are kind of the main pieces that we're going to be dealing with. And of course, there's the little itty bitty cats that come and crawl onto your quilts when you get certain collections of things that the cats like. So those are kind of the main pieces. I've got a bit of an abbreviated layout on my game board here just to fit it all on our screen. But in the guidebook, there is also a very nice layout that you'll want to reference as you set up your own game table. So that's probably a more normal way of laying out the game table when you're not trying to fit it all on one tiny little computer screen. Alrighty, so let me go ahead and adjust the camera here now and get this down so that you can see my layout here. Ow. Let me slide that back just a little bit. Okay. All right. So I have a 2-player game here. We each have our own quilting board. And in the center of the display in any given game, you're going to have 3 cats that you're trying to attract. In the base game, in a starter game, they specify which particular cats that you should start out with. There are 5 to choose from, and actually 10 when you consider that each tile is double-sided. So quite a bit of variety for ongoing gameplay. Each of the cats has a bag full of little versions of themselves that you will claim as you build out your quilt to represent points as you match things that the cats like to come and cuddle up with you with. So as you're laying out the game, first you put out the 3 cats that you're going to be using, and then you have the black and white versions of the pattern tiles. And basically you just randomly assign 2 patterns to each cat. And the idea is that each cat is attracted to certain patterns. So Coconut here likes the star flowers and sort of the what was that, Norman?
Vines.
The vines. That's a good way to describe that one. And Tibbet likes things in nice orderly lines. He likes the straight lines and then this nice orderly cross pattern. And Millie likes polka dots and ferns. It's just how it happened to be randomly assigned. Literally, you just take the black and white tiles and just grab the first 2 I pick up, drop there, the next 2 I pick up, drop there, and the next 2 I drop there. Each of those patterns is in the game under every color. So there are 6 colors in the game, 6 different patterns, 6 different colors. I just put these out here for your reference. So there's pink, yellow, dark blue, kind of like a turquoise blue, green, and purple. So 6 patterns, 6 different colors. So what you're doing as you're building the quilt is you're trying to put things together in combinations. So for example, Millie here likes sets of 3. So she likes sets of 3 ferns or 3 polka dots. Tibbet likes sets of 4 or more of either one of those patterns. And Coconut likes sets of 5 or more of either one of these 2. And the number up here is the number of points you get for each one of those sets you manage to put together in your quilt. So it only takes 3 sets of ferns, and they can be any color. So when you're attracting the cats, cats are kind of colorblind. So they don't really care what color things are. They just kind of like the patterns. So 3 of any color ferns will cause one of these little millies to come in and settle down on your quilt where those 3 ferns are situated. So it's a lot easier to get 3 of something than it is to get 5 of something. So you might focus strategy-wise on getting a whole bunch of millies, whereas even though Coconut is worth 7 points, you got to get 5 of any one thing in a row. So you get a lot of points, but it takes a lot more work to get them. So it's kind of a give and take. Do you go for the more points, but you might only get 1 coconut during a game? And a lot depends on what tiles come up to play, and we'll talk about that shortly. So with the cats, you're really kind of just focusing on the patterns. Where color comes into play can be the buttons. Now, I have a friend who's a quilter, and when you're doing quilting, a lot of times you'll put buttons on your quilts to embellish them. And in this game, what you do is anytime you get 3 tiles of the same color together, even if they're different patterns, in that case, for the buttons, the patterns don't matter, it's just the colors that matter. And so if I put 3 red tiles together, I can put a button on those red tiles. So I've got a little pink button here that can sit whenever I get 3 of these pink tiles together. Those buttons are worth 3 points. There's this nice little rainbow looking kind of button tile. And there are, guess what? 6 colors of buttons. This game likes 6s. So we've got green, turquoise, red, yellow, purple, and dark blue, the same colors as the tiles. So every color of tile has a matching button. Get 3 of a color of tile together and you can put a button on it. But with the buttons, there's a bonus. If you get all of the different colors of buttons, you can get a rainbow tile or a rainbow button. And that's another 3 points. So every button is 3 points. The final way you can score points in this game is the bonus tiles. Every player starts the game with 3 of these bonus tiles on their board. And again, in the starter game, they specify which particular bonus tiles to play with. There's a whole bunch more bonus tiles that you can use. Again, in the starter game, they tell you which ones to use, and both players are going to have the same bonus tiles that they're working towards. Later on, you can get into more complicated bonuses. But basically, the bonuses are going to tell you, in this case, it's AAA-BBB. So what that's basically saying is 3 things that match and 3 other things that match. And that the score says basically 7 or 13. And the idea is if they match one way, i.e. color or pattern, it's 7 points. If you manage to do it both ways, color and pattern, then you get the 13 points. So for example, if I had on the 6 sides of this tile 3 pink tiles and 3 blue tiles, 3 dark blue tiles, that would be AAA, 3 pink, BBB, 3 dark blue. That would get me the 7 points. They don't have to be right next to each other, just anywhere around it if there were 3 pinks and 3 dark blues. If the combination anywhere in that, it also happened to be 3 of the bars and 3 of the ferns, it wouldn't have to be all the pinks were the bars and all the blues were the ferns, just 3 bars and 3 ferns, as well as 3 pinks and 3 blues. That would be worth 13 points. So you can see how being able to finagle things so that you get the right tiles in the right place on your board can get you a lot more points if you can manage it. So in the starter game, that's one of the tiles. One of the tiles is an AABBCC, so that's 3 sets of 2. And then there's the one that says not equal. So that's one of everything. So one of each color and or one of each pattern. So this set of 6 tiles that I have sitting out here, where there is one of each color and each one is also a different pattern, if I manage to get those 6 arranged around this score tile, that would be worth 15 points for me. Pulling that off takes a lot of luck in what tiles you draw and a lot of patience in how you place the rest of your tiles on the board so that when you get the right tile, you have room to place it here. So The board is marked. There's a little cat head on 3 spaces on the board. And that's where those bonus tiles will always sit. So there will always be 3 bonus tiles per player in play, and they will always sit in those same 3 spaces. But there can be different bonus tiles in play each time you play the game. All right. So I'm going to take these away right now because was just there sort of for demonstration purposes. Now, during the game, each player starts, you would normally have all the tiles in a bag and draw everything blind. For demonstration purposes today, I've got them all face up here so I can find specific tiles I want to illustrate examples as we're playing the game. So we start the game, each player has 2 tiles to start with. And so I'm going to have 2 tiles here, and I want to have a purple and a pink for me. And I will just give my opponent 2 tiles. All right. And then 3 tiles are always available in the center of the game as the draw. So if I am the start player, and by the way, according to the rules, the start player is the last person who petted a cat. Oh, Simon left me. He's down on the floor. Well, I did just pet him at the beginning of the demo, so I'm going to claim that honor. So I was the last person who pet a cat, so I'm going to go first. So on your turn, the first thing you do is you take one of the tiles that is already in your hand and you place it on your board. So looking at my board, I have several options here. Given my layout here, I'm trying to get around this tiles that are going to be of 2 different colors. And while I'm at it, I wouldn't mind matching the tiles that are pre-printed on the board, because those do count towards your sets that are going to attract cats and are going to attract, are going to let you put buttons. So the 2 tiles that I have to start with, I have a pink fern and a purple star pen. Well, I don't know what to call that, but so what I'm going to do is, notice I have here pink and I have a green fern. So I'm going to play this pink one right here because I'm working on a set of 3 pink for a button, and I can also be working on a set of ferns to potentially attract a Millie. And I actually meant to have a green fern out here. All right. So I have placed a tile on my board. And then the second action I take at the end of my turn, well, first I look to see, have I completed anything? Did I get a set that's going to attract a cat or allow me to place a button? At this point, I do have 3 things together, but they don't add up. They don't match up to anything. So I can't place a button or attract a cat. So now I choose which one of the 3 available tiles I want to take. So I'm going to take this green fern because I'm looking at adding it to my display to complete a 3 fern set next time so that I can get Millie to come sleep on my quilt with me. So I take that, and then I draw from the bag to replace it. And so whatever I draw now will be available for my opponent to choose from next time. So I will draw from the bag a pink, there, All right, so now my opponent has a blue star flower and a yellow dot. And here she's looking at, she's got a yellow dot there, and Millie likes dots. So she's thinking, I'd like to try to get Millie to come sit with me as well. There's also a blue dot here and a yellow there. So she might put the yellow dot here. She might put the yellow dot here. So, but she's also got this blue star flower. So she's thinking maybe I'll put the blue star flower here later. So she's going to go ahead and put the yellow dot there. And she sees there's a pink dot out here, so she can start using that to finish a collection of dots, and she can actually play that against her pink fern out here to maybe start building a pink button in the future. So she will take that pink dot for the future, because that's a good play for her. And she will just draw from the bag and take a, let's see, just normally it would be a random, but I'm kind of trying to stage something here for myself. So I will take, that's pink and green. I want a green. Green, what am I looking for? I want that. All right.
Remind people about the chat.
Oh, and yes, if you do have any questions, feel free to go ahead and just click on the little chat button down there and type them in. Norman is watching the chat window for me.
That doesn't go in your head.
Oh, right. Sorry, I put that in the wrong place because he distracted me. All right. So now it's back to my turn. I, again, have 2 tiles in my hand. And now, this time, let me bring this back out here. I now have these 2 items here, 2 ferns, and I have another fern that I can play. So I'm going to place my green fern here. And after I place a tile, I always check, have I done something that will attract a cat, or can I place a button? I have 3 ferns together. Millie likes 3 ferns, 3 or more. So I pick up one of these cute little itty bitty Millie tokens, and she comes and sits on my ferns. I don't have 3 of a single color together yet, so I haven't collected any buttons. Didn't have that high enough. So there's my Millie sitting on her tiles. And now I choose from what is out here as to what I want to replace in my hand. And I'm going to go ahead and take this pink stripe and draw from here. And I'm going to give a blue bar. Now my opponent has these 2 tiles in her hand. And she is working on her little dots to try to attract Millie for the dots. For her, she's probably going to play this pink one here. That's going to complete her set of 3 that's going to attract Millie. And she's also lining up the pink here to potentially get a pink button. Unfortunately, she's cursing me because I took this pink stripe, which she had her eye on to complete that pink button next time. So she is going to look out here and she's like, not really thrilled with any of those items, but nothing says she has to play against anything here. She can put her next tile anywhere on the board. So she thinks I probably want that green. So she might take that just to keep it away from me. And at this point in the game, anything is useful. So she'll go ahead and take that green tile. And again, now we can go ahead and take a tile from the draw pile, and I will grab a green dot. All right. And so the game goes back and forth. Each turn, the players are going to place one tile, draw one tile from the exposed, and replace it. There is never a time when you do not put a tile down on your board. It is going to fill your entire board by the end of the game. Let me play one more round here so that I can get a button. So on this next turn, I'm going to take my pink stripe and I'm going to put it here. Notice that I am counting the half tile that was actually printed on the edge of the board. That's not a tile that was placed, but it does count. The printed tiles that are part of the border of the board do count. So I've got that half tile and that and that. Those are 3 pink tiles. So there I can claim a pink button. And then I will take, I'm annoyed because I really did want that green stripe tile, but I will happily take the blue stripe instead. And then my opponent, oh, I would, yes, want to draw from here. And I will bring out another green stripe tile. My opponent then is looking at the tiles that she has, and she will place, my husband is being very savvy watching from the sidelines. Right here, this green stripe, she's matching up the stripes on the blue and the green right here. So that is actually a very nice play for her right there. And she will then draw another green stripe for next time. And again, draw a replacement. Throughout the game, one of the things you're going to be concerned about then is not just getting the sets, but then trying to pay attention to these bonus tiles. So what I've done here is I've got some pinks and I've got a green here. So now one of the reasons I really wanted that green stripe is because since I have the green here, I really wanted to put that green stripe right here to complete both a set of 3 green stripes. Well, Tibbet wants 4. So I would still want one more stripe tile to attract a Tibbet. But if I'm going to put another stripe there, I would want it to be either pink or green to keep working on this bonus. So right now, the tiles I have are purple and blue. So I don't really want to work on this bonus anymore because the tiles I have don't work all that well with it. So I might shift my focus now around here. This one, I want one of every color. This one, I want sets of two. So looking at the tiles I have, I've got the purple cross thing. So one option would be to put that there because I've got the sort of pattern match and color match there. Or I can kind of do what my opponent did because I've got the stripe that matches there and the color there. But since I'm kind of working on stripes down there, I want to save this one and hope maybe I can get another green stripe there, and then I can tack this on it to get my fourth stripe to get Tibbet to come. So I'm going to go ahead and, oh, I just saw another thing I can do with this. My purple matches that pattern and that color. So I think, you know what? I've got more room to expand over here, so I think I'm going to do it that way. So that's my play there. Yeah, and that's a good point. Each player's board is different. My outside border is not exactly the same as my opponent's. Each of the four boards is completely different. They have a sort of a color edging. This one's yellow, this one's purple, that one's blue, and the other one's green. I love purple. It's my favorite color. I have a tendency to grab purple. If you grab the same board every time, you will get sort of set in your ways in knowing what your border is. Might not be the best thing to only play one board all the time, though, because if you find yourself in a situation where you're not playing that board, if you're playing at somebody else's house, or if this ever becomes a game that you play at an event like EuroQuest, I doubt that this will become a tournament type game, but certainly an open gaming or a wild card game, it could possibly be. You never know what color board you're going to get. So don't get stuck in the rut of always playing the same board. So I've placed that tile, and now I need to select a replacement. And since I'm playing that pattern now, I'll go ahead and grab that one. And I will replace with, I want a yellow one. Okay. Back to my opponent. So now, what are her tiles? She has the green stripe and the blue star flower. Now this bonus is two of a kind. The bonus that she's playing near here is pairs, AA, BB, CC. So she's got the green here. She has another green stripe. So if she plays that there, not only is she getting a set of 3 stripes, which is one short of getting Tibbet-like stripes, so she just needs one more stripe, maybe up here, to attract Tibbet, but she's also got 2 stripes and 2 greens, so she's working on this bonus, not just for the 7, but possibly for the 11. So that's a really good play for her. Oh, and 3 greens, so she gets a green button. And so she will draw, there's a yellow tile out here, and she is 1 away from a yellow button over here. So she will take that yellow button, or that yellow tile, for a potential button. And I curse her because I wanted that.
Remind the new people that they don't have to.
I see that we do have a few folks who have joined us since the beginning of the demonstration. So to just kind of recap some of the things that you may have missed, it is not necessary to place in any particular place. You don't have to group around the bonuses. You do not have to play against the edge. You can place a tile anywhere on the board at any time. There are no placement rules here. Okay. So, I've got my was starting to work down here on my pattern with this pattern. I also have my stripes that I'm kind of thinking of working on from here. So I can extend this pattern to here, perhaps, and Tibbet likes 4 of those. So one option, I could actually leave a space. I could move that one over here. I might do that because there's another dark blue there, and I can hope that I can get either a green or a yellow version of that pattern, which is why I was really hoping I would get that one, so that I could play the yellow one there and then the blue one. So I might skip a space and hope that I eventually get either a green or a yellow version of that tile for my 4th one that I need to attract Tibbet anyway. And I'm setting myself up possibly for a dark blue button. I don't have a really great play this turn, so I'm going to take that chance and let it and see what happens. Oh, I didn't replace last time. I thought I did. All right then. Okay. So since I'm staging things for the demonstration purpose, I did give myself the one I want. So I'll draw that, and now I'll replace for them with, let's see, what would be good over there. Yellow. The yellow. No, they've got their yellow.
No, they have the gap. Yellow button.
They have. They need a. Let's put that out there. Okay. All right. So they drew this one last time with the plan to play it there. So now that gets them a yellow button, and they're working on yellows around that bonus tile. And they now are happy to see the stripes because now they're looking to finish 4 stripes to attract a Tibbet.
Like, don't have yellow, don't have sevens.
All right. So I think you get the idea that it's a large part of the game is what comes up in the replacements. And sometimes you get the tiles you want and sometimes you don't, and you kind of have to maybe focus elsewhere while you hope to maybe get something that fits better with what you're trying to do. And in a two-player game, you're not going to see all the tiles during the game. And we've played a four-player game, and even then, I don't think every tile came out by the end of the game. So you can't count on everything being available. So I think in most of the games we've played, I've never gotten all three bonuses. Not that we've played all that many, but usually you can get at least one of the bonuses, maybe two. I think I've gotten one double bonus, like where you get it both on color and pattern. That's pretty rare. You've got to be very lucky as well as very skilled to get that one. So what I'd like to do now is swap out and bring in a completed game board and walk through the actual end game scoring. I'm going to kind of move this stuff out of the way. All right. They do include, where did my score pad go? Ah, there we go. They do include a cute little score pad. And hi, Simon, you came back for the end of the game. All right, so by the end of the game, the entire board for every player will be completed. Which way am I going here? All right, I'm being...
Or toward the center.
That's what I'm looking for. No?
This one. Yep.
All right. So this player, I see a rainbow button on here. That means they got every single color of button. They could possibly have gotten more than one of a single color of button. So generally the first thing you do is you count your buttons. So all the buttons are the same point value. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the rainbow is 7. I think I did have one game where I had 8 because I had actually gotten a second one of one color. So again, 3 greens, 3 blues, 3 yellows, 3 pinks, 3 dark blues, 3 purples. I should have pointed them out, but they're all there. So 8 times 3 would be 24, or 7 times 3, 21. All right. Then each of the cats, so this little guy comes in for 3 of the dots. So that's Millie. So Millie, they're nice. They put the scores on the back of the cat. So if you don't remember, it's on the actual cat card, but it's also on the back of the cat. So Millie is 3. Here's another Millie for 3 ferns. So that's 6. Here's 5 points for 1, 2, 3, 4 stripes. And here's another Millie for 1, 2, 3, 4 of the grid. And here is a coconut for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the star flowers. So 7, 10, 20, 23 points worth of cats on that quilt. Now the fun part is counting the bonus tiles. So for this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different colors: blue, yellow, light blue, purple, green, pink. So they did make one of each color, but I already see 2 stripes, so I know they didn't get one of each shape. So they only get the lower bonus, which is 10. So they get 10 on that one. This one, we're looking for pairs. So we've got 2 pinks, 2 greens, and 2 yellows. So we know we got at least 7. I see 2 stripes, 2 star flowers, and 2 of that design. They managed to get both color and pattern on this one. That's pretty impressive. So that one's worth 11 points. And then here, 3 and 3. Well, they didn't do it on color because I see too many colors here. There's more than 2 colors here. But I see 3 star flowers and 3 dots. So that gets 7. So this player got
I'm still listening to Amy. I gotta stop that because it's getting confusing. Hang on.
Go ahead, talk.
Okay. So this player scored a lot of points. Let me add that up. 23, 30, 40, 50, 60, 2 points. So that's a total of 62 points. So that would be an extremely, extremely good score. So definitely look at the scoring examples in the book to score these bonus tiles. They are tricky. They are where you can get a lot of points, but honestly, in a real game, pulling off what this player did is incredibly difficult. I think this was an example that they put in the book to illustrate how it works. I don't know that you could really do this in a real game. All right. So that's the basics of Calico. If you'd like to go off mute and ask any questions, go ahead now.
We had a question, is what triggered endgame?
End game is when everybody's board is filled. There's never a situation where you don't place a tile.
Don't see anybody typing.
All right, I don't see any other questions coming into the chat. If there are no other questions, I thank you for joining us for our demo of Calico. And I hope you'll give it a try if you have an opportunity to. It's really a very colorful and fun game. We've really enjoyed it the couple of times that we've played it. And thanks for coming.